Hello and welcome to Tavern Talk Part 2, and we're going to be talking about Vaesen, our Vaesen session. Hello, Simon. Just check that we can hear you. Hello. Oh, I'm getting feedback. I can hear myself.
Yeah, put on mute the stream.
Yeah. So basically, just like we've done for Forbidden Lands,
Hello.
we're going to be doing same thing for Vaesen.
Oh yeah.
Mute.
Sorry, I'm gonna.
Okay. All right. You've got the
Is it
Twitch open, right?
Okay,
Twitch open and anyway, cool. So I've been talking a lot for the we just did the Forbidden Lands one. If you're watching this in the future on separate videos on YouTube or something, so I've just done the Forbidden Lands one. So I'm gonna give my voice a break and hand over to our GM for Vaesen, Eric.
Yes.
Oh, we've lost
All
Rodders.
right.
Oh no, Rodders is there. We lost. Simon's gone. It's because the like where people are laid out has just changed. So
I know you.
okay.
I know you don't know me that well, Matt, but I expect.
Is this guy again?
there you go.
Oh, he's back.
And Rodders, you're back up at the top now. All right,
All right.
cool.
As-
So-
with a GM tag, that's fully presumptuous. So, yeah, let's talk about Vaesen. Yeah, like I wanted to start out and talk about a couple things that like I was sort of like missing or that I messed up in the session, just because like we're doing this partly as a sort of learning exercise. And Finhorn pointed out perfectly in the chat while we were playing, like the biggest thing is that I was saying like, oh, we'll need separate healing rolls for like critical injury that are good. That Matt's character received his gut shot. And I was saying we would need separate rolls for that critical injury and then for also like getting him up on his feet. That's not right. Critical injuries, you treat it, and it can also restore your broken condition, and however many extra successes can be additional conditions. So Matt was awesome. He saw it. I saw like I rewatched it, and he was like, so thanks for that. But yeah, that's the proper way to do it. And advantages is something like I forgot until we were just like after the sort of journey part of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which wasn't like we didn't totally leave it out. Like we ended up talking about it. We even applied them. But
We
yeah,
did,
it's supposed to be done sort of during the journey part. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
What, journeying to the location?
Yeah, exactly. The idea is like on your journey to where the mystery is taking place, then you establish what your advantages would be for that mystery.
Okay.
And there's a lot of free reign as to like what that can be. There's some examples which I don't think I gave you guys beforehand, so but I think we came up with some pretty good ones. So yeah, that's I think that's it for stake. If anyone noticed anything else, please let me know, and we'll go back and check. And we all between then and now, we went from the beta document to the full document. So that's awesome, and some lucky people are even getting their books now.
You got yours?
No. No.
Sore point.
Not even a notification yet.
I got my
hurts me.
so they're being shipped from the UK.
Yeah.
I'm in Germany, which isn't that far, and I've been watching people in like California getting like taking snapshots of their books, and I'm like, hold on. I know Fenhorn's the same. Fenhorn's actually in Sweden, which is where the game is made, but not being. Oh, in fact, I think he's got the Swedish version as well, being shipped from Sweden. He hasn't got his yet either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got my shipment notification yesterday, I think. So mine should be here within a week or two. So.
Yeah.
And then
Hopefully
I'll
sooner than that.
I'll be showing it off to Eric and saying,
Yeah.
"Look what I've got."
Yeah, it'd be great.
You and your cloth maps.
Yeah.
Make me jealous of each other for a little bit.
Yeah, let's not talk about the cloth map.
So
I'll
you
bring
got
it up later.
everything? You got everything on the Kickstarter?
Me?
Yeah, for Vaesen, I went crazy. I went crazy. We're not gonna like. I'm not gonna show what I got for this. Moving right along to GM prep. So I wanted to talk about like I can't discuss too much in detail about our mystery because we're still doing it. So that would be full of spoilers. So I'll start by talking a little bit about like sort of campaign preparation. I think in that all our characters, I can't remember if we had said at the time, but they're all generated randomly. We had used the random generation charts in the book, and I think we came up with some pretty cool people. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up to Free League.
Randomness.
Yeah, to the stroke of the dice and good design. Yeah, I think we have a pretty cool cast. So that's how we came up with the characters. And then, like with each player individually, we talked about sort of what their sort of pasts are and their dark secrets. So that gives me plenty of ammunition going forward, which I'm looking forward to using.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's this
How
whole
is-
really deep background to Selma that you will never know.
You'll never know. Or will you?
Selma's purpose was to save my life.
Days spent writing that intricate
Yeah.
network of contacts and NPCs that we worked with Eric to make.
Selma's going to make a great Vaesen. So,
So your prep will not have been in vain.
yeah, exactly. Very detailed
Can you
background
hear
for
me
that.
now? Because I can hear you guys.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, you are back.
Brilliant. Brilliant,
And,
I'm back. Hello. Technical problems.
Well,
All good. All good.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I think the random character creation I think was really cool. It had
Yeah.
it has flavors of what they've done in Forbidden Lands.
Yeah, it's a as far as life paths go, it's not the most detailed one you'll see, but
No.
it's good. Like it does
Yeah.
what it needs to do. It gives you the skeleton. I really
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And I think the thing I really liked about it too was that it had this like I can't remember the term exactly. It was like occupations or something like that, which weren't actually the same as the roles,
Archetype.
the archetypes.
Mhm.
That's right, the archetypes
Yeah.
in the book. So like I rolled a magician, I think is what it came up with. And
Yeah, you were an occultist.
but it,
and
that,
you rolled,
that
like, a
fell
stage
under
musician.
occultist, and it was kind of like
Yeah.
I didn't actually realize that when I'd skimmed the life path stuff before. I thought that was a really cool, nice little touch
Yeah.
where it's kind of saying like, okay, we only have a dozen or so archetypes, but within each of those archetypes, look, there's a lot of flexibility in coming up with like sub concepts or whatever, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Because an occultist
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
like a stage magician or like a herbalist type of character or something like that, and it same
Yeah,
applies
or
to all the
like
other
a-
ones. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I really like that. It sort of just gives you that little bit more flavor within the archetype, right? So
yeah,
yeah, so there's like some variation. Yeah, no, it's very good.
Yeah.
I think with Amadeo, like the doctor has a couple different ones as well. Like Amadeo is specifically a surgeon. Simon's character,
I was a police detective originally.
right?
I think.
Yeah, and so so I think that's pretty close to the archetype, which is like private investigator. Yeah, and
I mean,
and
I really
Salma-
liked what it did with like, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
With helping you create a character. It really works for that kind of system. I definitely more or less built my entire character from those things and just ripped on them. So yeah, it definitely works.
yeah.
cool. Yeah, and so one of the archetypes is writer, and I think Salma was that, but she's a journalist specifically. So yeah.
I'm kind of curious
Very
to hear Rodder's your take on the life path, because you've done a lot of Conan, which has a much more detailed life path system. You've also done a lot of Traveler, well, a lot more than I have anyway. And yeah, I'm kind of curious to hear what you thought of this kind of lighter life path system.
I liked it. I liked it a lot more because I think while it's still a life path system, it's quick and easy, and you can get right to it, and leaves enough open for you to design whatever you want. Compared to Conan, for example, it's a life path system where you're like at least 30 minutes per player, unless you're using
Yeah.
the web
Yeah,
app,
yeah.
which is really quickly.
Yeah.
You're at least spending a long time doing
Yeah.
all the things and marking all the boxes. And you've given, for example, when you're given a talent and it says choose one talent from these 6 different skills. You have to open the book and look at all the 6 different skills and look for the talents and say which one do I pick? And this was much faster. I like a life path generation system where it just says choose from the things right here in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the talent selection in Vaesen, it reminds me like we were playing Gin Lab Alpha recently, and it's the same sort of thing where you have like this very small list of talents to choose from. It's like 3
Yeah.
talents, I think, per
I think 3, no?
archetype. Yeah, 3. Yeah, so it keeps it very focused, which is really nice. Even in Forbidden Lands, where you get like a general talent, you have to do a lot more sort of flipping deciding.
And they're mentioning in the comments in Traveler, it could happen. It's this really intricate mini game for creating characters where you jump through things and you pass through one job to another, fail, and this happens and this happens. And you could be 40 minutes into character creation and then your character dies. And you have to start over again.
In original, that's like the original version, right?
It's in several of the old ones. I think in Mongoose first edition, it's still there.
Okay.
I
Because
think.
they
I'm not
changed
sure.
it to be. I remember this came up in Mud and Blood Discord. They changed it right to be you get like a severe injury or something, or you have to retire. I can't remember, something like that instead.
Now,
Which makes sense.
if you retire with an injury, you lose some stats. Yeah.
It's
one
a
of
pity
those-
though, because it's. Go ahead, Matt.
No, go on. I was gonna say it's the good thing about the death in character creation is that it's like cemented Traveler to have this really like badass reputation as the the game that kills you in character creation before you even get a chance to play the game.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like such an RPG meme that
Yeah.
why would you lose that? That's awesome. Keep it.
Well, what
Well, it's because
issue
you spend a lot of
actually,
time just to die. It's like, oh shit, I have
Fair.
to do that all again.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rodos.
I think I've already told this a million times in the Mud and Blood Discord, but an issue of not dying and instead reducing your stats is that what happened in our campaign is we had like a 70-year-old character that the moment in our first session there was turbulence in the spaceship and they took 1d6 damage and they died.
from turbulence.
From
Yeah.
turbulence
Wow, it
because
sucks to be you. You got travelered. Wow. It's like the Arma meme now, right? In our Arma game, you've been armored.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got killed by being stuck in a doorway. Brilliant.
Ooh.
I got injured while I was driving a car because I drove over a log.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Back,
it back
back
to
to Vaesen.
Back to Vaesen. We also did like some session 0 stuff over Discord. There's not a whole lot to say about that here, but like sort of setting out, like I kind of like gave some broad ideas about what sort of things we'll be covering, what sort of game we'll be running. I think I mentioned some of that at the beginning of the first session. I'm not going to labor that a lot, but we did sort of talk about, we did sort of establish a common sort of working agreement before we started playing about what sort of topics we'll be covering. It was slightly altered also because we're going to be streaming.
Yeah.
So there's some things you just don't want to go into that way. Following that, as I think I probably mentioned a couple times last session, the mystery we're running is something I created, and while I can't go too much into the details of what I've created, I created it all using the sort of excellent guidelines they give in the Vaesen book, which I highly recommend. It's a fantastic chapter about how to build your own mysteries. They basically go through it with you step by step, like the various things you need. Now, typically, most mysteries in Vaesen will involve a Vaesen. And I'm not going to tell you right now whether yours does or not. However, generally the precepts go that you establish kind of what sort of Vaesen you want to be centering on with your mystery. you then develop that as a character itself, right? This isn't Monster of the Week. Like, these are like individuals with their own wants, their desires, their goals. They're not just something to be defeated. Like, they have objectives in the world just like any other character. So you really sort of flesh that out. And as you're doing that, you come up with like a name for the Vaesen, and sort of its relationship to whatever the conflicts are happening that that ground your mystery. So you come up with a sort of a primary conflict. This could be between, different Vaesen. It could be between people within a community. It could be between like major themes of the setting, right? And so you develop what these conflicts are. Usually there's like a primary conflict, a secondary conflict. There are places. These are the places where the mystery sort of actually takes place. You can actually map your mystery out as like a geography of your mystery. You develop the clues that you imagine are found at various places, which lead you to some sort of climax or conflict. It's an excellent chapter. I hope that when we finish our mystery, maybe next session, that we can review and say this was a wonderful success and this is a great tool. But certainly so far, you guys have not done what I planned. I did a little bit of telegraphing not to do the certain thing that you did, and you did it, and that's cool.
Sorry.
And it's led us to a really cool cliffhanger in a really interesting spot. And what's I think really great about it is that I don't think it really impacts sort of I think you worry when you're doing a lot of GM prep, which I kind of did for this, that when players sort of go off the rails, that you're going to lose everything you did. And in fact, I think this is robust enough that I don't really know that it's going to matter a whole lot. I mean, it matters to Selma and it matters to Matt's character who got gut shot. And it will probably, it will definitely impact upon how the mystery plays out. But this sort of broad guideline that I have for what's going on here is not in any way sort of undermined by what's happening. So I think that's really fantastic. It's gonna be fun to see where that goes.
So for the mystery creation, I have a question. Is it like
Yeah, of
tables
course.
too, like Forbidden Lands that you?
Yes.
What Matt was saying before, that you can create this village by rolling dice. Is the same? I have no clue.
Yeah, there are tables. I haven't used them yet. I didn't use them on this mystery. I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do once I had set up some assumptions about what the mystery was going to be about, and it sort of informed itself. But yeah, there are tables as well, and I'm definitely going to use them. And we'll talk about it when I do.
That's exciting. I've
Because I'm guessing the time of preparation between Forbidden Lands and Vaesen is similar or not? I don't know. It seems like
very
Forbidden Lands is very quick.
Forbidden
Vaesen
Lands is they even recommend in the book. They even say 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Vaesen's-
15 minutes to a half an hour.
Vaesen's different, definitely.
Yeah, I spent hours prepping this. So there's a
Your efforts are appreciated, Eric.
Yeah, who knows? We might all die.
You might. This is also
I'm
my
pretty much
first
safe.
one. I don't assume that it's going to always take this long. But yeah, I wanted to sort of cross all my T's and dot all my I's, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have little maps and everything. You're not gonna see them.
Just remember this, Eric, for when you're playing in Matt's campaign and Matt describes this really interesting thing. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not going there. I'm just gonna.
Are you kidding? My goal in Forbidden Lands is to be the player that I want all my players to be. So I'm having a great time with this.
I'm just in paradise here. I can do what the hell I want.
No, I was so my we're getting a little off topic, but my regular Forbidden Lands group are super conservative and super cautious, and so I am playing my character just not that at all. So anyway.
I'm not either.
Hopefully, I can create a trend of characters that give their lives first, Sven.
You know what? Hjalmar is not going to do it.
We'll see.
I can be like the guest NPC that dies each week for Sven.
Don't tempt me. Come on, Rodos. I was kind of thinking that Sven might learn something from this, but getting shot in the belly is not particularly fun. I mean, I've never been shot in the belly, but I can imagine it's not particularly fun, especially in the 19th century.
Probably not. Yeah. Can I have a long-lasting scar or something? Is that gonna? Is there any repercussion?
Yeah, critical injuries have a defect which come with them, which is it has the potential. So during the rest of this adventure, it will definitely apply, and it's got a penalty to. I don't have it in front of me what mine is exactly. But then when you get back to base, the idea is, or possibly on the journey back to your base, you make a roll to see if the defect becomes permanent or not.
Right.
And so there's a chance every time you get a critical injury, there's a defect, and like the kind of obvious one would be you get a critical injury which hits like your leg or something. The defect is a limp, and your limp has a -1 to your agility. So anytime you're trying to be agile, if you got a limp, you can't be as agile. And then it's basically when you have the idea is when you get back to your base, you get seen to by a doctor is the idea, because the implication or the assumption is that you're spending at least like a couple of weeks back at your base before you're going out on your next mystery. Is that, were you able to get that limp sorted, or is it permanent now? And I think it's kind of cool. Like I quite like that. Like if I have whatever this defect's going to be for my gut shot, if it becomes a permanent thing, I'm gonna totally play into that. That's but I like that. I like grim dark games, obviously. So
but I give you a reduction on my private practice, Yeah. I'm okay with that. Back in
discount.
A discount, yeah.
Yeah. The thing with it's interesting about defects also is in play. I think you're only supposed to sort of activate them as a GM like once per session, and you can do it in a number of different ways. You can do it as a penalty to the skill. You can do it as you have to test something where you wouldn't have had to test it previously. There are a couple of other options I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it makes it a sort of interesting thing.
Yeah.
We can't amputate here.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Well, that's the idea with stabilizing. So the healing roll, like at the moment, is to stabilize the critical wound. So the idea would be like, if something needs amputating, theoretically, I guess that would be a defect. I don't have it in front of me, but I can imagine that would be something like you could lose a limb potentially as a defect. My example, I just looked it up. I actually did put it on the on our online character sheet, and for the abdominal wound is a stiff body.
Yeah.
And that affects my close combat by -1, which for Sven isn't such a big thing because I'm more about archery, right? I'm a posh archer, so I'll just be more of an excuse. No, I can't go. I can't fight them. I have this injury. I can't. I'm just terrible at this, so I'll stay in the back. Send Rodder's new character over to the front line. Cannon fodder.
So here are the options for activating a defect. I can add a penalty to your skill test. The defect states which skill is affected and how many dice are deducted. Social stigma. I can have a non-player character react negatively to meeting you. Your injury might make her afraid or hostile. My own worst enemy, a situation which would normally be able to handle now automatically, requires a skill test. An example is perhaps you acquire a limp and must pass an agility test to make your way up a hill, or loss of control. The game master assumes control of your actions in a certain situation. You would want to flavor that obviously with the particular defect and injury. So once per session, if you have a permanent defect, like any one of these things can happen. Which I think is a really cool take on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's some really cool changes to the user engine in Vaesen. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It's very cool.
I like the idea of characters slowly piling up a whole bunch of defects as they go on adventures.
Yeah.
Not enough games do that. You become the war the war grizzled veteran with missing an ear, a limp, full of scars everywhere as you do all these things.
Are we only talking about physical defects? Can you also have mental? I guess
Yes.
kind of
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Sanity. I guess kind of Call
So-
of Cthulhu. No, that you can be.
Yep.
So I'm
be
sharing
mad
it.
on the-
I'm sharing. I'm sharing it on the stream now. So you have two different injury tables. You have a physical critical injury table, and then you also have a mental injury critical injury table. And you have defects for both of them. And the defects for the mental injury table are things like skittish, compulsive liar, lacks initiative, fear of death, hears voices, and they all come with negative modifiers to skills. So, yeah,
cool.
it's pretty cool in that respect, definitely.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at the physical critical injury here, and there are definitely there's a one-armed defect for a deep arm gash, so you could actually lose your arm. You can lose an eye, so you get a punctured eye, and your defect is being one-eyed. That's just it's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Yeah. And when do you decide to retire one of your characters? If that's the case. Whenever you want.
Whatever you
I
want,
guess.
yeah. Because basically it's kind of like what's the term? Episodic play, right? It's not it's not one long ongoing campaign, and because you're at this base, it's fairly easy to introduce new PCs compared to like any of the other Year Zero games, actually.
So are we assuming that in the castle at some point we'll have, I don't know, 10 different characters, and maybe each session we take a different character? Is that even possible in the game?
Absolutely. If you wanted to roll up a new character and sort of have them join the society and your old character's there, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that. Yeah.
It could be cool. Like
Yeah.
maybe one of the retired characters become the librarian in the castle, and it's there, and you can interact. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only issue with that is that there are sort of improvements you can make to the headquarters, to the castle, which is introducing like a new NPC, which could potentially become a new player character.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we would probably want to have a pretty good justification for introducing a new PC.
Yeah, I don't see that as being.
You don't want to get to the point where you're exploiting it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it could be theoretically, if we, if this campaign goes on for a long time, we could get to this stage where we have something like, half a dozen to a dozen NPCs, and then we could theoretically pick from them, and then we could do a sort of troop play type of thing, where it's basically we have a pool of available players, and there's a mystery, and we pick like, who's the best person to go on this mystery, and you can almost imagine all of the the company, or I can't remember what the term is actually for us.
Society, no?
The society, like we have like a little society meeting, and we have a discussion like, there's this call for help has come up from this area. Who's going to go investigate? And then people be like, I'll go. I think I have this skill set which might come in handy, and that could be kind of a cool thing to like have a slightly different cast. Not necessarily every time, but maybe like one or two of the players maybe are playing different characters. Not because the previous ones have died, but maybe they got really badly injured and they're like recovering, right? They've lost an arm or something.
Right.
They're like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna go back out there and fight more Vaesen right now, because my like I still have like my phantom arm or just confirm. Did we did the stream
Yeah, it
drop?
says network error.
Okay, it says it's reconnected. So
I
just-
refreshed it and it's up.
Yeah, it's up. It's up.
okay, sorry, I just had an alert on my desktop saying OBS Studio disconnected, and then about 5 seconds later it said it reconnected. So don't know what happened there. Probably my internet. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think Vaesen is an interesting one with being deadly. In that, it's incredibly easy for your character to be broken, again, like any other Year Zero engine game. What Vaesen doesn't have is sort of immediate death criticals. So literally deadly, maybe not quite as much as others, but then again, it's the sort of damage you're going to be receiving versus how tough you are. And yeah, it's incredibly easy to go down. You're
So-
very unlikely compared to other Year Zero games to have any sort of armor.
Yeah.
So taking a hit, it's very bad.
You say that,
Yeah,
but
and
if we look
sorry.
at the critical injury table here, 11 to 36 is half of the results, right? And
Yeah.
1 over half the results are non-fatal, right?
Right.
Basically, nearly half of them, and again, this is the beta, so I don't know if they've changed this
Yeah.
in the final version, but the basically nearly half of them are fatal injuries, and what that means is if you don't get it treated within this time limit, you're dead. And some of them are rounds. Like the last 2 on there are in rounds. If you roll a 1 on that dice, in 1 round you're going to be dead. So it is possible to get fatal injuries which potentially will kill you.
There-
But
There's 6 of them that are in rounds actually. From 53
oh yeah,
to
looking up a bit.
56.
True. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
I mean, another thing to consider is also that by the nature of the game, most parties, I don't know, but this is what I'm assuming, will not be mainly physical characters. Like,
Right.
our party is 4 people that are all sort of wimps, really. And, like, if we had had a hunter, an officer, and a servant, maybe, that would have been a completely different story, that fight, probably. So it very much depends as well.
I don't know. I feel like Sven's reasonably capable in a fight as a ranged character. I've got a 4 precision and a 2 in ranged combat, which isn't too bad. But yeah, we don't really have we don't what? Hold on. Oh, Tony's playing a character who's good at
Close combat.
is okay at close combat, but wouldn't as a doctor wouldn't really do it.
Yeah.
Which is an
Does
interesting.
no harm.
Yeah.
Well, it's 3 physique and one close combat, so it's not actually super effective compared to like a more combating character. But yeah,
And the other thing I think that I don't know, I think that Vaesen doesn't have that much immediate recovery as perhaps the other Year Zero games do, at least the ones I've played, where you can recover your strength or your attributes quickly, even during a fight or anything like that. Like Mutant Year Zero has the abilities. Forbidden Lands, you've got some talents that do that. I don't
Yeah.
think Vaesen has that.
there might be some talents that let you do that. I'm not actually 100%
Yeah,
okay.
sure. It wouldn't
I can't
surprise
remember
me.
right off.
I can heal 3
Memento.
conditions, no? Or I can heal pretty well, no? For
Conditions
the
are-
Yeah,
tools.
but it takes time. Is that
Is
the
that
thing, right?
okay.
There are a
I
couple of
think
different
this-
options for healing. Like one of them is every one of you has like a personal item, and so if you interact with that, it could be even conceivably during a fight, whatever the interaction means here. I think I'll have to double check that. But you can get 1 condition back that way, but only 1 per session. On top of that, you can spend a scene, which is likely a couple hours or something. You can do that to restore a couple conditions for 1 character, I think, or like a couple conditions maybe split between a couple characters. And then there's like a medical attention one, which I think you basically have to take a day off, and you can restore some more that way. So yeah, there are some options, but yeah, none of them are particularly immediate. There are talents that increase the ability to heal conditions during those activities. There's
Maybe
no
this is-
like, there's no like berserker talent.
No.
Yeah.
They're very
I mean-
flavorful.
And what are there any magical items or supernatural items, kind of for healing or things like this? Maybe you can say. Just wondering.
I know the
So
answer to
it's-
that
it's an-
question.
It's entirely possible to find items that are magical. Magic is real in this world and it exists.
The answer
End
is
of
yes,
answer.
but it's a bit meta knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I wouldn't assume that you'll get access to that at any point.
No. Yeah, it's certainly not like high fantasy that you can go to a magic shop and buy artifacts or anything.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you turn the whole campaign into a thing about recovering and bringing Selma back. Just throwing that out.
Yeah.
Resurrection spell.
Right. Yeah. Maybe.
So going back to
Who
the
knows what she'll come back as?
talents, that there might be talents to kind of heal people a bit more. I've just had a quick look, and there aren't actually any general talents, at least in the beta that I'm looking at, that kind of help with recovery. But there are the Doctor and the Hunter. The Doctor's got, obviously, all their talents are focused on medicine and helping people recover. The Hunter has a talent called Herbalist, which allows you to use medicine without actually having medical supplies. So that doesn't make it more doesn't allow you to like heal more or anything like that.
Make it more pulpy,
but it makes it
for
more
sure.
You have a bit more utility when it comes to actually using your medicine roll. But it's not actually, as you said, Rodgers, there's not a lot of options to like as much as in Mutant Year Zero or in Forbidden Lands to kind of heal yourself as easily.
Yeah, because in Mutant Year Zero, you could, I don't know, if you had enough mutant points, you could just spend 3 or 4 and you're back to full health before you take that blow or anything like that. Here, it doesn't seem to be any kind of.
That depends on your mutation, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there was some that.
Right. Sure, definitely. There are definitely mutations in that allow you to like stone skin and there's like the regeneration mutation and stuff.
Yeah,
which definitely
I think there's like 3 different mutations that you can spend a mutant point.
And I think there might even be a talent or 2 that like give you benefits or something. It's been a long time since I played New Zero, but
yeah. And when I played Forbidden Lands, sorry, go ahead, Simon.
I was just gonna say that, like, as from the nature of the game being a mystery game more, so like, if there is combat, it feels like it's more likely to actually be deadly for the simple reason that most people are not gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna make a super combat-centered character who goes around with a longsword all the time, that kind of guy. And therefore, when fights actually happen and someone gets shot, they're like, this is actually quite bad. But in Forbidden Lands, you sort of, there's gonna be fighting.
Yeah.
So you plan around it, and I was not expecting to get shot at in this game. But,
I mean, they told us we're gonna get shot at. They explicitly told us that.
I didn't get shot at.
I think that's just a coincidence. Don't read into that too much.
Yeah.
We all took the decision, eh? We all decided, let's go.
Someone's to blame for this disaster, and it's definitely not Sven.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember being like, should we actually follow Sven? Maybe not. Maybe I should have pressed that point slightly
Says the
harder.
guy who runs away.
Just imagine you.
Says the guy who's going to survive for sure.
Yes. Simon will bury us all.
Yeah.
We'll see. Don't count your chickens.
Just imagine, if we even split. I mean, that would have been a disaster, for sure.
Now that would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
No.
Would have been a great first session. Like, let's set the pace of this campaign and kill half of the players off.
My wife always makes fun of me because I use interesting that way. Like, that would have made things very interesting. So the next note I had was about the preparation phase. And this is something that, I don't know, we'll see how it goes when the next time we start a mystery. For this first one, it felt a little sort of rocky and stumbling. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts about that. So this was the sort of, I think like the research role was like really good and sort of establishing like how you're getting there, equipment purchases, things like that. I didn't know if like that section of the session was as tight as maybe as I would have wanted it to be, and I just want to know, what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could have been tighter, and I think all of us sort of went into it, or at least I did, with the not really thinking about the fact that it's a 2-hour game, and therefore you sort of wing about a little bit more, and especially like Hjalmar and Sven just standing there fighting about like a bow or a crossbow, blah blah blah, which was
No,
fun.
but actually,
Like,
I think that was
with
great though. Like, I think
Yeah.
that was the best part of it in a way, or like talking about like what you're researching, like. Those are like really great moments in the session, so I don't want to detract from that. But,
No, I don't think so either, but I definitely think that we could make that sort of thing, slightly smoother for future sessions. I mean, my partner tuned in, and she was like, "Yeah, you were fighting with Matt about a crossbow. I tuned out." It's like, okay. Perfect.
But
We've
that's the
spent too
essence
much
of role
time.
playing.
In a way, yeah.
This isn't the first time we've argued about crossbows, Simon.
Yes, I know it's a returning thing. Free League and
Um,
crossbows. It just happens. Anyway.
Yeah.
For me, I was new, so I didn't even know what to do. Honestly, I was thinking, okay, yeah, more or less like, okay, I could do this, I could do that. But I guess, as you said, like probably next one will be okay. We need to prepare well. We need to know what to buy and think a little bit about the mystery. And I didn't even know very well my character, so now I think,
Sure.
I mean, we'll see after this mystery. But I will say, oh no, definitely more bandages.
Yeah.
Sven on the bandages.
separate stash.
Yeah, I think there was also perhaps the matter that I don't know about you guys, but at least me, I don't play that many investigation games. So like preparing for a mystery investigation in a setting that I haven't played as much, I think we'll get better at it as we play more and we get more familiar with the setting and the game.
So is this supposed to be done, the investigation part, as a separate thing? Like you really need to role play this kind of thing? I play a lot of Call of Cthulhu when I was younger, and this was part of it, like all the investigation, go reading the books, get an idea of what was going to happen. So I'm wondering if this is something that you also role play, or you just deal with just rolling and that's it. I don't know how it's written on base and how this phase of the mystery should be done.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There are definitely places in it in which there's plenty of room for role play. So it can very well happen that sort of in this preparatory phase before you sort of leave, like you could be looking in Uppsala for clues, right? And that could lead to like a whole other separate like side thing going on. And I think you should sort of roll with that, right? And that could be very interesting in itself before you get to the mystery itself. That said, like I can also see before some mysteries where almost none of it's role played. We're just like, all right, this is like how we want to get there, and this is the stuff we wanted to get before we go. And we're going to do like this one roll for like an investigation roll about finding some sort of clue that we might have in the library. So I think it can probably happen both ways. Like if the hook to a mystery implies that, or implies to any of you as players or characters that there's some sort of further information you get somewhere else in the city or within the society, and that could be something you play out in the same detail as you would the mystery itself.
Okay.
That's my impression.
And then for the castle, next time, probably, if everything goes well, we'll have also some time to decide what we do with the castle, I guess, if we survive.
Yeah, so after, and so we'll definitely do this in play. It's like after you finish the mystery, there you sort of just as characters, you ask questions about getting experience points. So after mystery, you ask questions to get development points, which you then spend on your head coach.
Okay.
That'll be something we do, and again, because we're doing this as a sort of informative thing, we'll do that in play, I hope, live for people to see.
Yeah.
Before we start the next one.
That'd be fun. I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out too.
Yeah. Cool. And my last point is. Or the last sort of broader point I have is just thoughts on the session in general. I feel like we're talking about that a lot, but yeah, if there's anything else that we haven't talked about that we would like to.
Well, for me, it would be I love it. I really like it. I mean, I have nothing. I'm always looking forward to play next Sunday. So
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, I'm super looking forward to it. Yeah, Finhorn saying that there's one of the development points I mentioned is for playing out a scene in the castle.
Okay.
So, yeah, it definitely rewards you for sort of look like playing that pivot up. So it's not something you have to do. But yeah.
I think the only thing that felt a bit weird, and I think we talked about it later off the stream or not, or in the text or anything, was the guns shooting every round.
Yeah.
I think that felt a little I don't know out of that it felt weird. Like we were
rapid reload muskets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit weird that you can reload a musket in like 5 seconds in this game, but yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't bother me at all anyway. It just felt a little bit weird. It felt jarring at first. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
they shoot at you. Okay, you move 5 meters and they shoot at you. Well, wait, what?
Yeah.
But other than that, it was okay.
There were two, no? There were two, if I remember.
There were two. But they were both firing each other.
Ah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, so that reminds me. I described these people as like perfectly naked. I probably should have said they had like some sort of like cartridge bandolier. That's the only thing they're wearing. Because then you have to be like, how are they reloading?
They are perfectly naked, and now you have to deal with that.
Well, I have to retcon it now because they've already shot at you multiple times.
They might just have several muskets. Who knows?
No.
Yeah, but
So, yeah.
other than that, it was great. It was lots of fun. I loved it.
Mm.
I can't wait till.
Yeah, definitely. Like Vaesen is definitely the free league game I've been looking forward to the most in years, and I like the other ones a lot. But like when Vaesen was released, announced, I was like, this is pretty much what Forbidden Lands was to Eric before. It was like, this is my perfect game, and I was like, this is pretty much it. Like I was incredibly excited for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, same for me actually. I've run or played all of the previous games, and I enjoy them all a lot. Obviously, but Vaesen for some reason has really been. It seems because I prefer lower crunch. I prefer lighter games, and Tales from the Loop was really great in my opinion. I created my little Year Zero mini game based on Tales from the Loop, and then Vaesen comes along and basically just adds a tiny bit of crunch to that formula, and it just feels right. It just feels really, I don't know, it's just like the perfect mix of mechanics to me. So just from a mechanical perspective, ignoring the really cool setting and the kind of themes that it has, I've been looking forward to this a lot anyway. And then I just personally find the kind of the theme and the setting and stuff like really, really exciting too. So yeah. And yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I'm really happy that I'm able to experience it as a player as well rather than a GM, because I very rarely get to play Year Zero games. I'm usually begging people to play them with me, and I'm GMing them. So yeah. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Awesome.
I was gonna say that I also think that Vaesen is probably my favorite Year Zero game. It has all the things that I would like in a game. Like for example, with Eric, we're now playing the Gen Lab Alpha, which doesn't have the sandbox part that I think I dislike about Mutant Year Zero. So that one I like a lot too. But I think Vaesen has all the things I like. It feels grim. It feels dangerous and all those, while the other ones don't that much. And I think it has base construction, but it doesn't have all the other stuff that I don't like about Forbidden Lands. So I think it has ticks all the boxes for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize for the video for people watching. I imagine it's on my side because my video is running absolutely perfectly and everybody else has been really frozen.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like on your Zoom on your end, but
I haven't been watching Twitch, so on Zoom it's been fine. But...
That's what I mean on Zoom, because on my Zoom I'm the only one moving, and the rest of you occasionally are snapping out of it. So I think it's
That's true.
I see everyone moving actually.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway,
I see everyone moving too, but my video is just weird and has this blue patina all over it, and I have no idea where it's coming from.
Yeah, I just thought it was a Finnish thing. So. That That's just like the mood of the country is.
This is just what Finland looks like. Yeah.
It's this what it looks like there.
Well, look at your flag, white and blue. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the Twitch and we're pretty much frozen. except
Yeah,
for
that's
Matt.
people are snapping out of it every now and again, but it's these 2 or 3 of you that are frozen. Anyway, I apologize. I live in the countryside, and it was fine earlier, and for some reason now it's gone. I've closed everything running in the background that I can without stopping the stream. It's not improving much. So.
Yeah, living out in the countryside and streaming is not a good idea, especially since at least 2 of us are out in the countryside.
Tony's out in the countryside. Rodders is possibly moving to the countryside
Soon.
Yeah.
With
so-
fiber, I hope. That's the first thing I ask. Before moving out, do you have fiber? No. Okay. No
That is
more.
the first thing we asked.
We're actually
what-
getting fiber soon, so yeah, it's good.
Does 100 megas reach this location? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We're moving to the countryside for the children, but is there internet? If not, we don't.
Yeah.
We need Netflix. Netflix is very important. Peppa Pig, please.
Yeah. For the children.
Yes, yes, of course.
Exactly. Yeah, and so like my final note is thanks for everyone who tuned in and watched and sort of commented in the chat, and that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Forward to seeing everyone next week and doing more of this.
Yeah. No, I'm excited too. I'm excited to see what happens with everyone other than Hjalmar, because he's kind of safe. He's on his way to the village, hopefully getting some help.
You know what? I'm gonna arrive first, alone to the village, and we don't know what that village is like. I might just get stabbed and murdered the first thing that happens. We'll see.
No.
Yeah, Hjalmar is going to have to explain why he ignored the explicit instructions detailed in that letter.
I spent 3 hours crafting the most like sadistic village you can imagine. So.
Yeah, they're all full of Slanashi cultists.
in great detail.
This is what we find out, that the naked people that shot us were trying to save us from the village. They just thought we're the villagers.
It's like really bad Scooby-Doo. Like, leave now.
And Selma is the only one that survives.
That would be a twist.
Please, now you have to do that, Eric. You have to. Yeah.
If I hadn't done so much prep already.
Well, here you go. Here's some homework for you then. Watch Deliverance 3 times before we play.
Yeah.
Have you seen Deliverance before?
I think I might have.
Oh yeah, it's that film. Oh no.
It's the one with the dueling banjos scene in it. It's basically
Yeah.
John Voight and Charles Bronson, I think.
Need PT. John Boyd, Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. And yeah, anyway. And they're going on like a hunting trip or something in the backwoods of somewhere, Kentucky or Tennessee or something.
West Virginia, right?
West Virginia, I don't know. Somewhere sort of southeast-ish.
Yeah.
And yeah, bunch of it's like kind of this sort of typical, like, you know, stereotypical backwoods inbred community. Basically, you're trying to kill them.
Yeah.
So it fit in Vaesen with a little bit of a Swedish polish.
Yeah. Another one I'd like to see Vaesen is Ravenous.
Ah, yeah, that's a very nice
I've not
one.
seen that one yet.
It's a great film. Watch
I
it.
have to look
It's on
this
my
up
list.
now.
It's on my list, yeah.
All right.
Along with about 100 other films. Cool. Right.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Anyone on the chat before we log off? Now's the time to speak, or until next time, hold your peace. Otherwise, yeah. We're gonna be playing Vaesen a week from today, so
Okay.
that's gonna be fun.
Yep.
See what happens. We don't have to wait long. And the week after that, we're gonna be returning to Forbidden Lands for episode 4 of that one. So, yeah. And we're hoping, I'm hoping that before the month is out, we're gonna have Twilight 2000 in our hands potentially to
Wow.
give that a little trial, but we'll see. No promises on that.
Yeah.
I don't think actually allowed to say too much more than just that. We want to play it. We want to stream it as well prior to the Kickstarter going live, and I've been in contact with Free League a little bit about that. So can't really promise much, but I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping we can do something. So watch this space. Yeah. And Fenhorn is gonna be keeping an eye on us. Make sure we keep on the straight and narrow.
Keeping me honest. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so thanks for
Awesome.
watching, and yeah, thanks to everybody here for turning up as well. I was expecting one or two others, but you all made the effort, so thank you.
Thanks to you, Matt.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, so catch you next week, I guess.
Yeah. Have a good time, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.